Star Wars, Starkiller, and Manson are all connected somehow? What? Hello, this is OG Star Wars, and we are now looking at a connection between Charles Manson, Starkiller, and Skywalker in Star Wars. And basically, though there was no physical connection, but there is a reason why Starkiller was changed to Skywalker as a surname to our main protagonists in the two main trilogies, the prequel trilogies and the original trilogy. And it is based upon the original trilogy more so than the prequel trilogy. So we're going to get into this article from Screen Rant, and it is by Kara Hadash. And basically, Star Wars, why George Lucas changed Luke Skywalker's original name. Luke's last name in Star Wars was Starkiller before it was switched to Skywalker, and we kind of knew that already. If you're well versed into the Star Wars lore and production and all that, you will know that, and if in anything, the original scripts and the story treatments do change up, just like Han Solo was supposed to be a green alien. All right, here's why George Lucas was forced to change the surname. So we're going to get a little bit into this, why and how that connection, our reason of Charles Manson changed the protagonist's name from Starkiller to Skywalker. Before Luke Skywalker became the main protagonist of the original Star Wars trilogy, the character was actually named Luke Starkiller. The character played by Mark Hamill became one of the biggest figures within the epic sci-fi franchise, first created by George Lucas in 1977. Here's why Lucas felt the need to change Luke's surname before Star Wars made its debut. So here we go into the story, further into the story. The Skywalker name is synonymous with the Star Wars even for those not familiar with the franchise. Yes, it is. And that is because there was a well-developed character developed through the hero's journey, all that, that made him such a relatable character, and that's Luke Skywalker. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, right? Luke starred as a central figure in the original trilogy as he transformed from a moisture farmer on Tatooine to a Jedi Knight and a hero of the Rebel Alliance's victory in the Galactic Civil War. He fit the archetype of a seemingly ordinary kid who was tasked with filling the weight of the world, or in this case, the galaxy, on his shoulders. The focus on Luke and Leia's father, Anakin Skywalker, in the prequel trilogies, and no, it's trilogy, there's only one prequel trilogy, gave even more power to the surname. It seemed only fitting that Luke returned to some capacity in the sequel trilogies, trilogy again, and the final installment of the saga be titled Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The movie titles, as well as the saga, would have been much known as something much different. This is how I'm reading it. If Lucas held on to the original Starkiller surname, it would still be Star Wars. It would just be a different surname. I don't think any of the story would have changed, or Luke's arc would have changed. When developing Star Wars in the 70s, Lucas referred to the protagonist as Luke Starkiller in the various drafts of his script. In fact, the character was referred to as Luke Starkiller a few months into the production due to the connotations with this name Starkiller. Lucas decided to change the surname to Skywalker. The reason for Lucas making a big name change stemmed from the infamous cult leader Charles Manson. So here we go. So here's the connection to that and why the name was changed. The sadistic man and his fellow followers were responsible for the deaths of 9 people in the late 1969, including death of the up-and-coming actress Sharon Tate. The Manson family murders were still fresh on the minds of the public in the 70s, and Lucas worried that the name Starkiller would draw connections to someone like Manson. He was indeed a star killer. So there you go, people. After being behind the murder of a promising movie star, which was Sharon Tate. To avoid any kind of negative connections to his protagonist, Lucas chose to change the name of his hero to Skywalker. So there we go. So there's the development on that and why that was changed. We all knew it was changed already, especially if you know all the history behind Star Wars, or at least are well versed in it. Considering Starkiller was still in use during the early months of production, a certain Star Wars scene had to be reshoot. When Luke first met Leia in the first film, he proclaimed,
"I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you."
But in the original scene, he referred to himself as Luke Starkiller. Hamill has been outspoken about liking the name Starkiller, yes, more than Skywalker. The name would get reused for the main character of the Force Unleashed video games, but got its most famous rebirth 40 years after the introduction of the iconic figure, when the director J.J. Abrams honored Hamill's character by naming the First Order superweapon Starkiller base in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and as a nod to the original surname. All right, so here we go. So I think Starkiller is more iconic to the game and the novel, The Force Unleashed. And yeah, JJ may have used that name to the nod of what, Luke Skywalker was supposed to be, Luke Starkiller. That's fine. But if it's a nod to such an iconic hero like Luke Skywalker, then why make it as a planet-killing base when Skywalker was a person who thought best for the galaxy, fought and preserved and protected and tried to maintain peace in the original lore? Why would they want to do that? Make a villain-type base that destroys the galaxy in honor of someone who's trying to save it? That's what I'm trying to say. Something to think about. So here we have it. Here is the reason why Luke's original surname was changed from Starkiller to Skywalker, and how it was then used for The Force Unleashed for Galen Merrick's name, Starkiller, and then how Abrams was said to honors Luke's original surname and as a nod, and made it as a super weapon. So again, something to think about here. So whether this is true or not, there's no sources cited here. Whether it's true or not, it's very interesting. And so I hope you like this little bit about how Luke Skywalker's name evolved from Starkiller to Skywalker. And I really don't think that anything would have changed with his arc otherwise if he would have kept, if not him, but if George would have kept the name Starkiller instead of evolving it into Skywalker. So please leave your comments below and let me know what you think about this little interesting bit. I just thought I'd share it. Thought it was interesting, something to think about. And again, we always know that with scripts and story treatments, they do change over time until we get the product we see in the theaters. And that's including Han Solo, who was supposed to be a green alien. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel immensely. And thank you so much for joining in on my channel, listening and connecting with the original EU, the original lore. And may the Force be with you. Have a good night.